organization. It's a movement. We're talking about unity. We're talking about unity. So we're aimed to taking down the system of race by educating, enlightening, informing, and positively debating with those who have counterviews.
Ow! Welcome back to our Talk About Unity show. We call this the Welcome Back, Richard. Happy Marine Corps birthday. Post-election version of Talk About Unity. We got all those things happening, so I'm really excited because I got my boy Richard back in the house. Richard's been out, and we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff today. We got such a list today because Richard's back. We got to hear his story. We got to hear the American story that's going on right now in the country. That's a lot to talk about there. So we got a lot to talk about. So welcome back, Richard. Glad to have you, man.
Thank you.
And first thing, and so I don't forget, because last time I forgot, you got to stand up, turn around, show everybody the back of your shirt there. All right. There we go. America. That's what we're talking about. America. All right.
So when you hit a good shot, when the ball comes off the tee and it's going straight 300 yards, you say, America.
America. Hey, and you see I've got my Happy Marine Corps birthday today, November 10th, 1775. Ever since then, we've been committed to honor, courage, and commitment is what we call our core values. And you see we've got our nice display here, Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, Marines, right? So it's a Marine kind of day. So lots of things going on in America. And so we're going to get to it today on Talk About Unity. We're going to see how we can bring some unity with all these things going on.
Come on.
So, Richard, tell us what's been going on, man. Give us the story. Give us the scoop, man. We got to hear.
So
this is good knowledge y'all might want to get.
A bunch of our guys, we get together and we play dominoes, watch Monday Night Football, have a little halftime prayer time. You know, it's just good Christian, good friend time. Well, one of my buddies that I love to play dominoes with, little did we know that he had corona. So we're eating.
Little did he know.
Little did he know. So eating nachos, playing dominoes, and so I got corona. I got tested.
How many people were playing dominoes? How many?
Well, there's always 4 people at the table.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe I was probably the only one eating while I was playing. It's kind of tacky anyway. Anyway, so I test. I immediately had my entire staff and family test. And sure enough, some of my family tested positive. So we put in a lockdown protocol. I jumped on, it's a good thing to have good nurses and doctors and people that have a solid COVID protocol. And so I immediately got my meds, got things going.
What about that? Was the first? Didn't you go to this first doctor and he didn't? He just said go home or whatever.
Man,
and you had to get a second opinion.
I'm not gonna name names, but this guy.
Don't put him on blast. Don't put the doctor on blast.
This guy said,
don't go to Dr.
Go
X.
Home
Dr. X.
And don't do anything. Drink lots of water and stay in bed. And so we have a lot of people at River Praise that are in the medical community.
They said that's not the answer.
So they found out they jumped on it immediately. They said, no. You jump on it fast. And so I decided to follow their protocol versus his, and they put me on this because I've had pneumonia 6 times in the past.
Oh man!
So they have steroids for my lungs, and then they had these tablets and different things. And anyway, never once did I feel sick. Not dizzy. The only thing is I felt like a 3-penny nail, like about a 3-inch long nail through my forehead. For a few days. And just a little dizzy, a little tired, and stayed down as much as I could. You know, I can't keep it down. But
so did the Queen of Spring? Did she get it?
She got it. No. She never got it.
She never got it.
She never got it. She never got it.
That's his wife, by the way, Queen of Spring.
Queen of Spring, just as strong as an ox. And
she never got it.
No, everybody else got it. And but she stayed.
I mean, what happened? What was she doing during the time when you were down? Was she still around?
She's up in the upstairs bedroom. I'm locked in my bedroom with my TV, and so
they were sliding your plate under the door.
Pretty much,
like a caged animal. Here you go.
Yeah, stay away.
Feed the animal.
Stay away, and of course my second son Nation. He's very health conscious, somewhat of a hypochondriac.
Did Nation get it?
He got it. He was like, "Dad, stay in your room. I'm gonna get it." And of course, he spoke that on himself. But I don't know if he got it from me or got it from the
Somewhere.
dishes or whatever, but it all worked out.
Or maybe he was at your domino night. He wasn't at your domino night.
He was at the domino night.
Oh,
and
man.
everybody else, but
Y'all had a super spreader event.
had a
Super spreader.
super spreader,
Super
domino,
spreader
Monday
event
Night
happened.
Football wiped us out. But but it's good to have strong leaders at the church.
Mhm.
So they took over the services. Of course, our whole family was on lockdown because we did not want to be that family. And then the next Sunday, we had, which was this last weekend, was at the Cross, outside services.
Oh, cool.
Everybody was clean and clear. I got my antibodies. I'm selling them on eBay. I'm selling my antibodies. No, just kidding.
He's selling antibodies. Antibodies for sale. It's a new business happening as a result of COVID.
10 for $1.
We got entrepreneurs
No.
going crazy.
So I got my all clear from my doctors, and they were like, everybody in the family's doing good now. I mean, everybody's got their negative results and antibodies and all that, and so we're just encouraging people to be cautious. You never know when that's
Right.
going to
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. I never felt sick. Never felt sick. Just a headache, and good meds take care of that too. So.
Well, yeah, because that was amazing because you got that, and then because it was 2 days after we'd done our show, whatever. I never felt anything, never got anything or whatever, and we're boys and we're always hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's just and that's what I think. There's so many unknowns about COVID, and I tell you what, as I've been driving, because I've been doing quite a bit of driving around the country here a little bit lately, and we really do just this past weekend. I'm in Arkansas. And my wife and I are going to this destination. We pull over at McDonald's. She's got to go to the restroom. She walked and the doors are locked. We're like, what? I mean, it's like the middle of the day. No, they're not open and never have been.
Wow.
Yeah. So they shut down and just have not been open. And so we had to strategically start planning where we're going to stop just so we could, and we're like, do y'all know in Texas, we're kind of opened up and we're doing things. And people would say, well, the cases are going up, but it's just one of these things. I think at this point we know enough now to take proper precautions, but other than that, we kind of live life. We got to
You have to.
we got to live life and just kind of roll with it. So
And businesses are figuring it out. Chick-fil-A is still. I mean, one thing about little plug for Chick-fil-A. My best friend owns a couple of Chick-fil-A's and
closed on Sunday.
it closed on Sunday.
My Chick-fil-A.
Well,
All right.
but they have really figured out their processes on their drive-through. So the touchless experience and the drive-through and all that, man. Listen, we're going to get into the vote thing in just a little bit. If Chick-fil-A was counting the votes, there would not be.
Put Kathy's in charge. Put the Kathy's in charge.
Yeah, put the Kathy's in charge and count the vote. No,
that's good.
So
That's
say
good.
they're not doing their in dining inside experience yet. But when it does, they're going to have good protocols. You know what? We need to trust the entrepreneurial spirit of business because they want to take care of the customers and just let some of these things play out. The government is really bad at being efficient anyway.
That's true.
So
That's
let
true.
some of these things play out. So my one plea to our audience today is I really want to encourage you to listen to your body, pay attention. You know what healthy feels like. You know what healthy doesn't feel like. And so whether you're really tired or dizzy or nauseous or all these other things or the headache, let me just say that bad, way past migraine headache. If you start experiencing things like that, go get it checked out. Because, the fast rapid test doesn't take 30 minutes and you have your results.
Wow.
And
That's
then
good.
you can, if you find out that you are, then you can start distancing yourself a little bit more with your family and figuring out what you're going to do. But, it's about preferring your family, preferring your fellow man, and, just being respectful.
Yeah. And that's the thing, as we go down the road with COVID and just time, we're learning more, we're figuring out more, and so we can take better precautions and we can understand the impact of the precautions we're taking and adjust as necessary. And because we like I said, we've got to get back to, and I hate to say normal because we're not talking about normal, but you got to understand that there's a certain amount of sensibility that we've got to have in the way we begin to relate to each other and in our businesses and our homes. That's just very good for us. It's very good for our health, our mental health. And our mental health is just as important as our physical health. And so we got to understand that. And I think there's not just a balance, but you want both of them to be as rich as possible. And I think so that's why it's so important that we can really carry on, because like I said, trying to go out and just drive to the store, and if all the stores are closed and you can't go in, we don't understand how psychologically damaging that can be to us, because there's just something that we expect to happen. Yeah, okay, I'm a Marine. I can do hardship. I can do that kind of thing. Sure. But I don't expect that when I'm going to the 7-Eleven store around the corner. I don't expect to have to deal with that type of hardship. And so it's something that we got to think about as a society, what we want to do right now.
The protocols they have in place about social distancing and the mask and keeping your hands clean, things like that. That's not going to hurt anybody to adhere to some of that. A lot of people in the faith community were like, I hear on both sides, well, it sounds like you don't have any faith. Is Jesus your healer or not? They're saying these different things. And, we really need to pump the brakes a little bit on that and really learn to just prefer each other, realize everybody is at a little bit of a different place regarding health and healing and just faith and all those things. And so, I just want to say one more thing about it. When I knew I needed to get tested, it was a Thursday night, and I had a cough, an uncontrollable cough like that, and it was at a visitation for a funeral at our church. The congregation that was there was 90% was an older congregation, and so I didn't want to just cough in the lobby, and didn't even think I had anything. Went into the bathroom and just really coughed uncontrollably. The headache hit, and then I thought, tomorrow I'm going to go get tested. But at that viewing, at the funeral, everybody either had a mask or they were socially distanced. They were very respectful with each other. And of course, I'm going to follow the lead of that audience. And so I, followed the protocol of the mask and the different things that they had wanted. And I'm just like, thank God that this audience that was there was very respectful of wanting to protect each other. And so I got the report back yesterday that no one in that entire audience had any symptoms or any issues. And so I was just thankful that particular moment with the older congregation there was just very mindful and respectful, and it turned out to be a great thing.
That's a very good leadership call too, because one of the things that the church, my wife and I went to in Arkansas this past weekend, the pastor said he never shut down. He just told the people, "I'll be here if you want to come." And so he left it up to them. And then he said, if you come and you want to, they had color-coded wristbands, and you could wear red, yellow, or green. And it told the people what level you're comfortable with, and so you could react to people based on what they're willing to do, and so very respectful towards each other. And I think that's a key thing. Don't harass somebody because they feel like they're wearing a mask, and don't harass people because they're unmasked. I mean, let's just relate. That's what we're doing, talking about unity. And so what we're going to do when we come back, we got a lot to cover in our show today. We're going to get into our politics and all of that. And boy, we got a lot to talk about, politics and the election. That's going to be deep. But we're going to do that after we take a commercial break. And so we'll be right back here on Talk About Unity. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
I'm trying not to lose my head.
Hey, this is the Talk About Unity show where I bring the talk,
And I bring the unity,
and together we talk about unity.
unity.
Unity is what matters.
Come on.
And right now in our country, that's what we've got to do. So we do that here at Talk About Unity on the Edge Radio Network. Be with us every week.
It's going to be awesome. It always is. And I tell you what, the more we seek first to understand, then be understood, we make progress.
And we like to do that. And that's why everybody's on the brink. We love what we do at Edge Radio because everybody's on the edge. We bring them back from the edge and we bring the unity. So we're just glad. Edge Radio Network every Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Talk about unity because here at Edge Radio Network, truth still matters. We're post-election here at Talk About Unity, and it's about that time. It's about that time, so it's about that rhyme. We're going to talk about what's happening in America. We're in a tough situation right now. We had an election, and probably the first time in my lifetime that we had 2000 with the Bush-Gore election when they still we had to go to court and figure out. But this one seems much more scandalous than that one in the sense that one seemed to be more controlled. They had some problems with hanging chads in the state of Florida and the system there. And so it was very localized. And so they had to figure out what was going on there just in Florida. This time, it's kind of like you really don't know. Everybody's kind of insecure. And of course, many people say, well, it's over. Let's move on. And so there's that side. And then you have a lot of other people saying, no, we can't move on. This has got to be investigated, got to be checked out. And what does it do? It creates more dissension and division in our country. And so that's why you need to be here at Talk About Unity to talk about how we come up with solutions when everybody else is at odds. And so, Richard, let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's get some views on these things and let's talk about what the American people are facing right now.
So what's the problem and the answer? The problem is politics.
Yes, politics. We need politics, but we don't need politicians.
Well, politics.
So
Let's break down politics. Poly means multiple. Way more than many. Tick is a blood-sucking parasite.
Okay.
No,
we got many blood-sucking parasites. Hey, take that back. We're not talking about our leaders that way. All right. So we're not doing that. So
but, it's just so painful to see our country go through this process of just fighting. And man, I just people have screamed for the last 4 years, not my president. And then now here it is, there's a whole new group of people screaming, not my president. Yeah. Well, from a person that believes in honor and respecting the office, whoever is certified at the end of this whole electoral process, they're going to be my president,
right?
And whether we like it or not, they are going to be the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to see it, wake up, open your eyes. There was more people that voted in this election than any other election in the past.
Record setting.
Mm-hmm. And so, if you don't like the results of this election, You can cry and you can accuse and you can do all these other things. But the bottom line is, if you want things to be different, and this really hit me hard last night. The problem with America today is not Joe Biden or Donald J. Trump. The problem with America is that we have, as citizens, become lazy and really putting all of the responsibility and ownership on a particular person or a particular party. If you don't like the way things are going in the country, as a citizen of America, we need to get up and have conversations with our neighbors, with our family, with our friends, with those that would call us an enemy, and have the conversation on how to make things better. How to make things better. This whole, what we were talking about, E.R.A.S.E, and this whole unity movement lifestyle is about having the conversation. We have to have the conversation. Somebody calls me racist. That used to infuriate me when I was younger, because I know that I'm not. And I would just, it was like the worst name you could call me. You call me that, I cut you off, you're out of my life, I never want to see you again. But I've changed my thinking. Because maybe their perception is that I am, and I dig into, why are you saying that? And if I am, maybe I have a blind spot and I need to change. But if not, when you push back on accusations, then all of a sudden it puts them in the seat. They have to own their accusation, and we can move forward in the conversation. So whether it's that racist word, or whether it's policy, or whether it's just the way a politician comes across so demeaning and so aggressive, that has to break down into our individual relationships as citizens of America and say, what direction do we want our country to be in? What direction and posture do we want our leaders to take? And then hold those leaders accountable.
Well, see, and you made the key word there when you brought up in our relationships. I think the problem is that it's so explosive and so volatile out there in our country that we don't ever get to relationships. So when I call you a racist, it's not like I call you a racist and then we have dialogue about it. We don't have dialogue about it. I call you a racist, and I would do that in order to shut you down and tell you that I have no respect for you, and no, I don't want to talk to you. No, I don't want to talk to you. I'm just tired. I'm just this. You all have done this to me and whatever, and I just don't want to have. And so there is no conversation so that we can do what's necessary to build relationships.
Right.
And so you've got to, we had Martha Rogers on a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about civility. And we're talking about, we've got to be civil enough with each other so that we can say things that engender conversation, and then we can begin building relationships.
Yes.
And we got to understand, we got to do that with people, sometimes people who disagree with us.
Yeah.
People who have totally different viewpoints, who are on the other side of the political spectrum, the demographic spectrum, socioeconomic spectrum. Yeah. They're totally different than we are. We've got to be willing to engage them. And if we don't do that, then we can't build relationships, and we can't have the conversations, because at the end of the day, as Richard was saying here, is like, whether it's 45 reelected or 46 the new president, you know, we got to be the solution. We do this so we can come up with solutions. It's our thoughts. Our government is of the people, by the people, for the people.
You have to say that again. Yes. Say that again.
It's up to us. Our country is built on the idea that this country is of the people, by the people, for the people. We are the people, and we got to have the power. So when we choose that elected official, then they're simply acting on what we, the people, have decided needs to be acted upon. But here's the thing. Right now, because you got the country, regardless of how you feel, whether you're a Trump side or Biden side, you got to acknowledge we're divided. Yep. And that's why the election was so close. Remember, they were saying it was going to be a blue wave, it was going to be a landslide. My brother was telling me it was going to be a landslide. I was like, not from what I've seen. Right. I've seen people just as excited about Trump as I see about Biden. That's cool. That's what democracy is about. That you've got this one side and people are supportive of that side. You got the other side. And somehow we come together and we elect a person, you know, whether it's edged out at the ballots or anything else. When that person gets in office, and we say, okay, how can we still then make the best of it for everyone, for all Americans? And that's what it's about. But we can't seem to get there because the thing that I hate, usually when they get in office, the first thing they say is, now I have a mandate, now I'm in charge and I can do the things and I support my base kind of thing. You know, if you do that, we remain a fractured country, and we just continue the way that we are. So we need some solutions. All right, so let's talk about what do you think is going to happen now? We've got we've got evidently the court involved, and I heard someone this morning say Supreme Court is going to have to rule on this. Do you think it'll get there? Do you think it'll get there?
I do, and this has been something that has been in the middle of my bullseye for over 4 years, and that is the integrity of the election. I believe the most important responsibility we have as a citizen is to vote, and that vote should not be taken lightly. It is a vow. It is a responsibility. It is something that we should take very, very serious. And the taking the vote away from someone else, I mean, that is a serious offense. That's treasonous. Right. Everybody's vote should count. Everybody should be able to have this feeling that they can show up at the polls without any intimidation, without any harassment, without any fear, and they know that when they cast their vote is going to count.
As our system broken, Kathy. So we need Chick-fil-A.
We need Chick-fil-A. We need Chick-fil-A or American Idol or something that will secure and make sure that the integrity of the voting process is in place. And so while I was in ministry for 20 years, I was also in the computer industry at Compaq back in the day. And so working in processes my whole life, then they got promoted into a quality engineer, which is overseeing the factories and the processes in the factory, process engineering, which is make it really hard to do the wrong thing, really easy to do the right thing. People will gravitate most likely into doing the right thing. So that works with the election process. We really need to make it hard to do the wrong thing and really easy.
You gotta take out mail-in then. I mean, how can that be? Can you have can we have a valid voting system with mail-in ballots, where you get where the post office, where the guy who, first of all, you got people at the post office, human beings,
right?
And they've got to take it, and we've got to be sure, number one, that they put it in a person's mailbox. But that's like saying, if we think that the vote is that valuable, it's like a bar of gold.
Yes.
Would we take a bar of gold and just sit it out on our front porch? No. We wouldn't do that.
No.
So we've got to have a system. So, I think people were kind of upset. Initially, I think President Trump was making a big deal about mail-in ballots and saying, no, we can't do mail-in ballots. We shouldn't do mail-in ballots. It make everybody go to the poll. And that sounded kind of crazy at first because it was very COVID sensitive and everybody was going, yeah, COVID, well, how are we going to vote? But that's kind of, you kind of can't control that process. And so how much of that can we tolerate, though, with this election that just happened?
Yeah.
Do we count? Do we say, well, yeah, we understand? And because maybe I shouldn't tell this story, but a good friend of mine, we were in this Bible study. She works at the post office, and I won't name the post office,
Yep.
But she said that they found a pallet of ballots that they didn't do anything with. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh man, that's terrible.
So all those voters were disenfranchised, and if that's one piece of this giant puzzle, then there's no integrity in our election. I mean, if one pallet of votes is stolen, then the election was stolen in my eyes. So the people are not the problem. The process is the problem. And if there are avenues in that process where things can be tweaked or stolen or manipulated, then those variables have to be removed out of the process. And my thing is this: there's a lot of things that people want when they vote for a president or a party. You want those things. Well, and some of them are entitlements, because there are people that are in need. And so, and you're voting for these particular benefits or whatever it is. Well, then it should be worth your effort to get out of your house, go to the polling place, and cast your vote. And there's a lot to that. And I believe this is what's coming. I could totally be wrong, but from a process perspective, there needs to be voter ID cards that have barcodes that are encrypted, that when you vote, you're locked out of the system. You can't vote again. If you die, dead people shouldn't be able to vote anymore. If you die, you're locked out of the system. If you move, then you're locked out of your old district. All those things that say one man, one vote needs to be put in place. And that's in an electronic system, no paper. Look at the stuff that came off on Veritas. I mean, hidden cameras in the ceiling, people sitting at tables filling out somebody else's voter ID card, cops 6 feet away. Well, then how can anybody that sees that say that really this was a fair and honest election? And that was just one of many things that have happened. So
how should the American people then respond? I mean, if we think, can the election become legitimate?
Well, the only way I see that it happening, and I don't know as far as everything besides the presidential election, but for the president, I think that there's going to have to be the Supreme Court intervene. And people, hey, don't throw rocks at me. Don't tell them my address. I think what's actually going to need to happen is like December 15th, there's going to have to be a revote for the president.
So let me ask you this again.
In
person.
person.
I'm saying, is there any way, let's say without the revote, is there any way to legitimize the election?
No.
No way to legitimize the election.
There's no way, because the time-stamped envelopes and all, you know, the envelope that things were in, this, a lot of that I've heard has been thrown away. It's supposed to be kept for I don't know how many days. And so if you don't have the evidence, the proof of that particular vote, and the video pictures of the videos of people actually fraudulently altering ballots, then we have to reset and go back, and everybody voted on Tuesday. Come on, we can come up with another Tuesday, and just we got time.
Some of those people, I mean, I guess if it's worth it, they would do it again, but
why not?
Not sure that they'd want to. So if we can't do that, so we're speculating, and right now, those major news networks have given the nod to Vice President Biden as the president-elect.
Mm-hmm.
And so since we don't know, and we think that the election right now is not legitimate, then absent revoting, then what other options do we have? Because if the president, he's doing his thing in the courts, whatever, because he could do his thing,
sure,
and they could recheck, and they could say Biden still won. So he's saying, let's just do this thing so we can make what is, and that's what I was saying. Would that then legitimize the election? Because President Trump might be saying, no, just give me the win, you know, and that wouldn't be legitimate either.
No, it wouldn't.
And so what would be the only way that you could legitimize that thing would be, okay, let's check these things that are suspect. And it seems like there's so many things that are suspect, so many different places. Could you reasonably do that in any reasonable amount of time so that we could?
Well, there's supposed to be poll watchers that when they're counting the votes.
See, but that's just one of the issues. You got the other thing. I mean, you got so many issues here. You got the mail-ins where people said, I went to vote and they said my mail-in had already come. All right, so we're going to have to talk about some more of this. You know, it's like halftime in a football game. We're going to have halftime. We're going to go in and regroup and come out with a new strategy to talk about this, all right? So we're going to do that after we come back from this break here on Talk About Unity.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
And we're back again, and we had a halftime, and we got our water break, and we trying to plot our new strategy.
The toilers did their job.
Yeah. And so the question is, can we do something to legitimize this election? So what do we come up with? What do you think, Richard? What are our options here? I had the idea, of course, saying if the Trump move. I called it the ultimate move at this point, and it would be this. Now everybody's going to go, you got to be kidding me. The ultimate would be that President Trump, our current president, would simply bow out. Concede and say, okay. And if he would do it with a great speech and say, because for the sake of the country and us not having more bitterness and divisiveness and ripping ourselves apart for the next 4 years, I will bow out. Oh my goodness. And if he would say, I will support the president and let's make America great with him. Oh, that would be it. If he used those words, his words, let's make America great with Biden. President-elect Biden. Then now, of course, that's kind of like a dream state there. Yeah. That, because I'm trying to bring unity. I'm trying to see how we can get the best out of everybody so that we can begin working together. And so now, given that probably is not going to happen, what do you think? What else do we have, Richard? What do you?
Because I have been fighting this for well over 4 years. The integrity of the election, because I want everybody's vote to count. I want everybody to have confidence that when they go into that booth and they select that candidate, that they know that it wasn't stolen from them and that everybody else's vote counted. And it was the will of the people that person is in office. But when you got all these things, of course, with social media being what it is and the hidden cameras and all the other things that are showing up through all of our other devices and profiles and relationships, how many people are running around today thinking that this election was stolen from them?
So we still need to fix that. That's got to be fixed either way.
That has to be fixed.
So even if Trump did concede or whatever, that's something that's got to be highlighted, identified, and then fixed.
Right.
And if whether we call Chick-fil-A or whomever, we really do need to get that fixed because there's no reason. And I'm kind of like President Trump now. We can't do mail-in ballots. It's not. No. That's not gonna work. I mean,
voter ID cards that are encrypted, that locks people out once they vote, once they die. If they move, they're locked into a new district. And this whole ballot harvesting thing that has happened all across the United States, that has to stop. That has to stop. If you want to take somebody to the poll in your car so they can go vote, well, then that's fine. But if the election is important to you, then it should be important to you enough that you get in your vehicle or a vehicle or the nursing home vehicle or whatever it is, and you get on there, you go to the place, you take your card, you yourself select that candidate, and you vote. Because here's the bottom line with this whole process thing. If we don't fix this, it will soon be, and it already is, that the best cheater wins. Is that really how we want to live? No, we have to fix this. We have to fix this process, and I think now's the time that we fix it. And if it's painful and if it is a long, enduring process in order to fix it, fine. Because then the next time election comes around, they're going to realize that the American people and our government is not going to put up with this nonsense, and that if there are irregularities, if there is sketchy stuff going on, then we're going to go through this whole process again until we get it right.
Look at the elections, and one of the things I think is that we've got too much money involved. Because when you look at it, in some of even the Senate races, with that one Senate race that they were going after Lindsey Graham, his opponent spent $100 million for a Senate seat.
Right.
So if you have any process that has that kind of money involved, you're going to have some issues. You're going to have some issues. And so I think that's going to have to be part of the election reform that we have. We've got to do something about the amount of money that's spent. There's a lot that can be done with that money. We understand. And why does it take that? Because you got to have that amount of money to spend time ginning up the story against your opponent, which is going to divide our country more. And it's one of the things that happened right before the election on that Tuesday of last week, is that the ads that were coming across, and if you watched any TV, it was just nasty. And everyone had an ad where all they did was attack their opponent. That's not really what the election is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about us voting for people. And now it's the politics of how much trash can I dish out on this person so you can vote against them. So we're not voting for people.
And stuff that's blatantly not true. And I just don't understand why there wasn't hundreds of millions of dollars worth of lawsuits, slander lawsuits against the people that were lying against their opponent. They've accepted it, I think. Huh?
They've accepted it. Well, you threw mud at me, I'm gonna throw mud back. So
yeah, no. So it should be about elections should be about who has great ideas, who's got great character. So whoever has the best character, the best ideas, the best group of people that are supporting them, that's going in that direction, well, then it's the will of the people. Come on.
Now, what were some of the things? Then, what are some of the positives you've heard from Biden? Some of the things that you think might be positive.
So I heard today, driving in today, that Biden said that he never ever wants to have these conversations in America anymore about defund the police. I thought, come on, I can get next to that. No more defund the police. Let's stop just having these blanket processes of being able to go acquire military grade equipment and just providing that, making it an easy process to have military vehicles on our streets. So, I don't know. I guess the jury's out on that because I don't even know what exactly they're.
We can have the Marines on the streets. Marines.
Right? I don't know exactly what they're talking about, but the whole his approach was a much more civil approach than what we've seen from many of our leaders across our land regarding defunding the police. I'm glad we're not talking about that anymore. And just educating and training our officers. Oh, get rid of the chokehold. Get rid of the choke. I think most people are really good with that. There's other things that people can do to keep a person from not complying with officers. So
yeah, I've heard some law enforcement
that was today.
Personnel. Wow, that's good. Well, because at the end of the day, that's the thing we're going to push more than anything. We're going to try to get people to get behind whomever the elected official is. And if the sooner that we can do that, I think the sooner we can begin working on solutions. But, I made a Facebook post about there are two ways you can build character. One of them is by showing how you act when you win, and the other one is by showing how you act when you lose. That's right. And so one of the things, and that's why at this point, I think the people who are Biden supporters think now that we're on top, and they're going to act the way that the Trump people did when they were on top, which was which was the thing that they were against. And so we got to begin to show character. And so if you're a Biden supporter and you're for him and he's the president-elect, let's show some character, show some class. Let's begin showing that in the same way. And if you're a Trump supporter and you felt that loss, let's show some character. Let's say, okay, hey, well, let's now come together as Americans and let's do the great thing. So
this last election before Trump was elected, when Hillary conceded, several of my friends, they had one word post on their social media profiles, and it was the word resist. And it was a process of resisting all the way up until right now. That should not be our avenue regarding politics. So if President-elect Biden is certified as our president, he will be my president. And he will be the recipient of many of my prayers. He and Kamala. They will be. Whoever is in charge, I pray for the leaders of our land. And I'll be praying that President Trump, as he moves into a new season in his life, will be not one of vengeance or anger, but it will be one where he can lead the next chapter of his life in a productive way. So.
All right, hey, so we're going to take a break here. We're going to come back with the last section of the show because today is the Marine Corps birthday and tomorrow happens to be Veterans Day. So we're going to spend a little Veterans Day segment coming up as soon as we come back from this commercial break on Talk About Unity.
Welcome back. So glad that we've had this time together today, talking about elections and Mr. Biden and Mr. Trump and all these things that are happening in our country today. Talking about getting healed from COVID. Talking about, hey, Veterans Day and the Marines' birthday and all these things that are going on in life. I just want to say this one thing is the things that I'm passionate about, the things that have garnered my attention and been the recipient of my prayers, none of that's going to change regardless of who is certified as president. I'm still going to fight for families. I'm still going to fight for babies. I'm still going to fight for the injustice that is levied upon so many people in our society. And you know what? That doesn't change. I'm just going to make sure I have respectful, loving conversations. And if I'm wrong, man, I just pray people pray for me that I get right. So there's just so much going on. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be living in America, and that we have a democratic process. It's flawed, has issues, but you know what? I also pray and believe they can get better. So that's my speech.
That's cool. And so now we're going to segue and talk about honor, courage, and commitment. That's what we do in the Marine Corps. All right, those are our core values: honor, courage, and commitment. And our country could use that in spades. And this past weekend, I was happened to be the guest speaker at a friend's church in Arkansas where we talked about veterans. And I want to make this pitch to the American people, because often people have always said, especially during this time of year, they always see me, the ones that know I was a Marine, they'd say, thank you for your service. And especially when I used to walk around in my uniform for the last 30-something years before I started this, then, my wife always scheduled for us to go get those Veterans Day meals at those restaurants that happen, on the 11th. She's probably scheduling that now, and we'll do that. And people are saying, we thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. My response has always been, whenever they said that, I said, first, it's my privilege to serve. And secondly, I always respond to them and thank you for yours. So I want to talk to the American people today about your service. All right. Because here's the reality. While I served in the military and I have a responsibility to go to these places that the government says we need to go and do the things they say we need to do, you too have a calling on your life the same way. Whether you're a housewife, whether you work at some big company, whether you're a pastor like Richard here, you have a calling, and that is a call to service. And so that's what we're all called to do. And I want to thank everyone for their service, because when we do that, our part in that service, what are we doing? We're serving others. We're serving those around us. And that's what needs to happen. When we can get that level of service, we'll finally begin thanking everyone that you're acting on my behalf, because that's what you do when you're serving. That word that's used in the Bible, in the King James Version, it says minister. You're ministering to people, and that's one of the things, I don't want to take Richard's job here, but that's what Jesus did. Jesus came, he said, I didn't come to be served. I came to serve, and so we're all veterans. And I talked about service, then I talked about sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. Would you give up something for the good of your family? Of course you would. Would you give up something for the good of your neighbors? Of course you would. And so we're asking you to give up something for the good of all of us, for the country. And that's the sacrifice. So you've got service, sacrifice, and here's the hard one. The last one is suffering. Service, sacrifice, and suffering. That's what makes me a veteran. That's the stuff that I had to put up with as a Marine when I went to Baghdad, Iraq, when I served time in Korea and Japan, around the world doing these things. Some of the times those conditions were harsh. And we had to endure that because it was a part of the package. In the United States, I think we've become so comfortable, we don't understand that some of this is part of the package. This is life. Yes, we like comfort and we like convenience and we like everything to be easy, but sometimes it's not. We talked about this election process. Sometimes things are hard. We talk about COVID and what we had to endure during COVID, and personally, sometimes those things are hard. But they're not hard for no reason. They're hard to make us better, to make us tougher, to make us able to endure. It builds our character and it makes us veterans. You can be a veteran because that service, through that sacrifice and through that suffering, you too can be a veteran. So I just want to say on this day, happy birthday to the Marines. You see, we've got our props here. And to everyone, let's celebrate Veterans Day, which happens tomorrow, November 11th. Let's celebrate Veterans Day by remembering. Thank everyone that you see, because we're all veterans when we desire to serve those around us, sacrifice for their good, and sometimes that entails some of the suffering. So that's what we need to do.
And thank you for your service. And we do.
And thank you for yours.
Well, I'm just saying that. And when you have family members or friends or people in the community that that did serve, I think it is really a privilege for us to take a moment and just tell them thank you. Because where would we be had our military veterans not served our country and lived that life of service and sacrifice and suffering? And many of them are still living through some of those, sometimes not so private, but many times private pain. And a little bit of a thank you, a little bit of honor goes a long, long way. And so we need to do that, and we should want to do that.
We want to thank you all for tuning in today on Talk About Unity. We talked about a lot of other things, but at the end of the day, it's all about the unity. And we talk about unity so that we can walk about that unity. All right. So we thank you all. Hope to be back with you next week. And we're going to have Richard here. So we're back in the mix here. So we'll see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel on Talk About Unity. Marine Corps, happy birthday.
There you go.
Outstanding. Yeah, that's really good.